Okay, we're going to dive into a technology that is so fundamental, so powerful, that it basically runs our entire civilization. Yeah, I'm talking about writing. But here's the thing. Its origin story is way more practical and honestly, a lot more human than you'd ever guess. So if I asked you, what was humanity's most powerful invention? What would you say? The wheel? Fire, maybe? Sure, all incredible, right? But none of them quite capture the one thing that let us literally store a thought, send it across time, and build societies on a scale nobody could have imagined. That is writing. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is the twist that changes everything. You see, the quiet technology behind every law, every contract, every story you've ever read, it wasn't invented for art. No way. It wasn't for grand epics or beautiful poetry. Writing was born out of something, well, a lot more boring: accounting. So to understand why, we gotta go back, way back, to a time before any of this existed, when humanity was facing a huge and growing memory problem. You have to remember, for thousands and thousands of years, the human brain was our only hard drive. That's it. All our knowledge, history, laws, traditions, it was all passed from person to person, mouth to ear. And that is a really fragile system. I mean, think about it. If someone forgot something, it didn't just vanish from their head. It could be lost forever. No backups, no cloud storage, nothing. And for a long time, for small, nomadic groups, this worked just fine. But then, everything changed. Agriculture happened. Humans stopped wandering and settled down. And for the very first time, we started producing more food than we could eat right away. This surplus was a total game changer. But it also created this massive new problem for our brain. All of a sudden, people had to deal with this incredibly complex question. Who owns what? Just try to imagine it. You've got a city with hundreds of jars of grain. Some of it belongs to the temple, some to the farmers, some of it's for taxes, some is a loan. I mean, trying to keep all of that straight in your head, it's literally impossible. The human brain had finally hit its limit. So, faced with this challenge, our ancestors in ancient Mesopotamia came up with a genius solution. They didn't invent a better way to remember things. They invented a way to not have to remember at all. What they built was essentially the world's first database. And the way they did it was just brilliantly simple. Okay, so first, it started with physical objects, little clay tokens. Maybe a cone shape meant a measure of grain, and a sphere meant a sheep. But, carrying around bags of these things is a pain. So they took the next logical step. They started pressing the tokens into a wet slab of clay, leaving a permanent mark. And pretty soon they realized, hey, wait a minute, we don't even need the tokens anymore. The impressions themselves were the record. And right there, that was the birth of cuneiform, one of the earliest writing systems ever. You gotta get this. These wedge-shaped marks on clay tablets, they weren't dreamed up by poets trying to capture the human spirit. Nope. They were designed by Sumerian accountants who were just trying to stop people from cheating and, keep track of their stuff. And this is a really crucial point. These first marks, they weren't language, not like we think of it. There was no grammar, no verbs, no sentences. It was just pure, raw data. 3 jars of barley, 1 worker, 1 day. That's it. It was a ledger. But then came the real revolution. This is huge. A symbol that used to mean the thing, a sheep, started to represent the sound of the word sheep. And that, right there, was the monumental leap. The system went from being a limited list of objects to an infinite alphabet of sounds. And once you can write down sounds, well, you can write down anything you can say. Names, ideas, commands, laws, even lies. The whole system just became infinitely more powerful. So this incredible leap in technology didn't just change how we kept records, right? It totally changed how we build societies. This shift from simple data to actual language, it created what you could call the scalable society. I mean, think about it like this. If your whole society runs on oral memory, your ability to organize is totally limited by personal relationships and, how much one leader can remember. You can rule a village, sure. But with writing, now you've separated memory from a single person's brain. Information can be stored, it can be copied, it can be sent over huge distances. A ruler in the capital can give an order, and that order can be carried out exactly the same way hundreds of miles away, long after he even said it. With writing, you can rule an entire empire. Yeah, this new external memory bank is what made the modern world possible.
Think about it. Complex government, standardized laws, contracts that actually mean something, sprawling empires, all of it is built on the foundation of written records. Suddenly, knowledge, and even debts, could outlive the people who created them.
And if you remember one thing, it should be this. Writing didn't suddenly make individual humans smarter. Our brains are pretty much the same as they were back then. What writing did was revolutionize our collective intelligence. It let us organize and function as a society on a scale that was just completely impossible before. So, what about the stories? The great epics, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Well, they came way, way later. Literature was this amazing but secondary use for a technology that was first perfected in warehouses and tax offices. It was a tool for culture, sure, but it was built on a foundation of bean counting. So, the next time you jot down a note or fire off an email, just take a second and remember where that all started. You're using a piece of tech that wasn't invented to express deep emotions, but to beat our own faulty human memory. It's not art, not first anyway. It is memory, made permanent. And that leaves us with one last thought. Every database, every line of code, every single text message you send, it all traces its family tree right back to some Sumerian accountant who was just trying to keep track of grain. So the question is, how does that ancient 5,000-year-old need to stop forgetting still shape our super-connected digital world today?